Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense, thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on, to better explain what's going on, and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. Here we go.
I'm Sergeant Rob Scheer with the Phoenix Police Department's Public Affairs Bureau. The information, audio, video, and pictures you are about to see are intended to provide details, as we currently understand them, of an officer-involved shooting that occurred on March 5th, 2023. This video may contain strong language as well as graphic images, which could be disturbing to some people. Viewer discretion is advised. This incident occurred in the area of 43rd Avenue and Encanto Blvd when Phoenix police officers responded to the area regarding a shooting. The caller stated a woman had been shot and she was now near a home in the area. Here is a portion of the 911 call.
Phoenix 911, what is the address of your emergency?
West Encanto Blvd, Phoenix, Arizona, 85009.
Okay. West Encanto?
Boulevard, Phoenix, Arizona. It's a house, yes.
What is the emergency?
A lady has been shot. She has a gun wound on her leg, and she's bleeding.
Stay on the line with me, okay?
When officers arrived, they found a man and a woman lying on the ground near each other. The man was moved to a nearby curb when they realized the woman had been shot. The investigation on scene revealed that the man on the curb was the person who shot the woman. Officers moved in to arrest the man. The man immediately resisted, a struggle began, and the man pulled out a gun from his waistband. A sergeant and one officer discharged their firearms. The involved officers' body-worn cameras captured this interaction. Body-worn cameras are used by all officers assigned to patrol and several specialty units. Per policy, they are worn at mid-torso level and capture the view of the line of sight from that perspective. It's important to note that the camera lens is fixed and does not capture everything seen or experienced by the officer. When activated, both audio and video turn on. The body-worn camera has a buffer of video without audio for the 30 seconds prior to activation. This feature is designed to capture incidents that happen suddenly, where an officer doesn't immediately activate the camera. Here is the body-worn camera from the sergeant on scene. Here is the body-worn camera video from the officer who discharged his firearm. Please note, the officer's body-worn camera falls to the ground during the struggle.
Hey, come here.
Here is the body-worn camera video from another officer involved in the struggle with the man. Here is the same video, slowed down, showing the man holding the handgun as officers struggle with the man. The man died at the scene. The woman was transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. No one else was injured during this incident. The sergeant involved in this incident is assigned to the Maryville Estrella Mountain Precinct and has approximately 15 years of service with the department. The officer involved in this incident is also assigned to the Maryville Estrella Mountain Precinct and has approximately 6.5 years of service with the department. This incident is the subject of a criminal investigation to be reviewed by the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. It is also the subject of an administrative investigation. Conclusions about whether the actions of the officers are consistent with department policy and the law will not be made until all facts are known and the investigation is complete.
This video was intended to inform and educate the public about a critical incident in our community. You can learn about the Phoenix Police Department's transparency policy on our website.
All right, so interesting incident here. They're knowingly responding to a call involving an incident where a person has been shot. Based off what they talked about, it doesn't seem that they had any definitive information before going into this, like who the parties are or anything like that. They're there. From this standpoint, it looks like they've been there for a minute. The ambulance or fire truck is already on scene there. Typically, they don't roll up until the scene is deemed to be safe, right? So it would appear that they've been there at least for a minute or two in order for the ambulance or fire truck to finally roll up on scene. So this man and woman found laying on the ground, and the woman had been shot, and they moved him away and put him off to the side. And apparently, at some point, they discovered that he is the one who supposedly shot her. I would imagine that maybe the woman told them that he was the one who shot her, or it could have been a witness there. I suspect that this is potentially a domestic violence kind of issue. It's just very peculiar. Why would this guy shoot this woman and then lay on the ground beside her? Right? Like, robbers don't do that. They shoot you and run. They don't freaking lay there with you. Could he be a crazy person? Yeah, potentially. But my hunch is he is potentially a domestic violence perpetrator. And so the fact that they are knowingly responding to a call involving gunplay and a person being shot, that in my head says that they need to get there with rifles out. Just because whatever was in the 911 call said that the person wasn't there anymore or whatever doesn't mean that they're not actually there and can't come back. So I don't see any rifles out at all, and I think that's a failure right there. This kind of call dictates that rifles need to come out. Rifles are better than pistols. They are more accurate, and the terminal ballistics are way better. Pistols just kind of suck in comparison to rifle. So there should have been some rifles there. When they finally figured out, hey, this dude is the one who shot her, then they would have been able to utilize those rifles and approach him and get rifles aimed at him with good, proper, lethal cover. And then go through the commands of keep your hands where we can see them, lay down on the ground, put your arms out, whatever. You could also have someone standing there with taser. That way, if he doesn't want to comply, you can pop him with taser or spray him with spray, whatever. But I definitely think that rifles should have been there and out, and that someone should have had lethal cover on this guy with a rifle. I could see, them thinking, oh, we'll swarm this guy and take him by surprise and then cuff him up. I'm sure that may have worked before in the past, but it doesn't mean that it's going to work every single time. It's kind of a risky move to do this, especially when the guy is armed. And there's a pretty scary image on a freeze frame here. If I can bring it up. There. These guys have no idea how lucky they were. This dude could have very easily swung this gun up and done a contact shot on at least a couple of these officers and dropped them right then and there before anyone would have been able to respond appropriately and stop him. Super, super, super lucky. Even at a point right in here, you see the gun right there. This officer's laying right here. Here's the gun. He curls that gun inwards. I might have gone a little too far. Let me see if I can play it and get it to pause. Getting closer. I mean, all he has got to do is point at his head and boom, pink mist. The other officer who is standing kind of on the other side over there, I think that he's the one who prevented this officer laying on the ground from eating a bullet. This guy right here. So I think that he, during the struggle, and it's so hard to see too. The camera angles kind of suck. There's another officer over there. I think this officer over there that you can see kind of at that corner. You see him right there. So this guy, he's trying to go controlling the limbs, and I think he gets a hold on him, but you can't see because of this damn blur box. But it looks like he has a bit of a hold on one hand, trying to push him back, and then this guy comes in and gets a hold of that limb and starts to try and gain control over that limb. And it's just, I mean, it's so close. So close. That dude, that officer is so lucky. Incredibly lucky. I mean, his last meal could have been a bullet. Like, literally. Let me slow the speed down. So I had to watch this a few times to kind of figure out the order of succession here. I'll drop this volume so you don't hear too much of annoying slow-mo sound. So that officer who was initially laying on the ground, he starts to get up. He goes to draw his pistol. Does a contact shot to the head area. That is the best move to make, in my opinion. Being all super close in this scenario right here, so close, so many people all entangled right here. He's got that gun in his hand. If he were to fire around into his thoracic cavity, there's no guarantee that there would be an immediate incapacitation. He could fire 5 rounds into his back, his chest, his side of his thoracic cavity. Fire 5 rounds into it, and this dude could still pull the trigger on his gun and shoot one of the officers. Generally, a gunshot to the head tends to result in an immediate incapacitation most of the time. Now, sometimes people do get shot in the head, and because of weird angles and everything, it doesn't go straight into the brain. Sometimes bullets can ricochet off people's heads. But generally speaking, when a bullet pierces the cranial vault and goes into the brain, you get incapacitation at that point. And so this is the best appropriate move to be making: removing the gun, pointing it, sticking it to the head, and then pulling the trigger. That minimizes any chances of this officer missing and potentially hitting another officer, and this increases the likelihood of causing immediate incapacitation and stopping the threat right there. So he pulls his gun, he fires 1 round, boom, and you kind of see the explosive power of that. See something go flying off of this guy. He kind of falls forward a little bit. As he is getting back up, a second round fires. And I initially thought that maybe he, indeed, as he was getting back up, but it's actually this officer whose camera we're watching who actually ends up firing. So he fires, and then this guy, he fires again for a third time. And then falls again. One, two, three. Now, as this officer's coming up, his back is to this officer, so he can't fully see that this officer has fired. So it's plausible that he's thinking in his head the bad guys fired a round, that his first round didn't do anything, and when he gets back up, he presses that gun towards that guy again and fires his second shot into that guy. Don't know for sure where all the bullets have hit on the bad guy, but obviously it resulted in him being unsubscribed from life. These guys, they have no idea, man, like how lucky they were. You know, now that I've rewatched it multiple times, it's almost even plausible that this dude was just wanting to unsubscribe himself from life, because it almost looks like he's putting the gun to his head. But then again, you could say that he's trying to point at the officer who's holding on to him. Either way, he is a deadly physical threat, and these officers acted appropriately to defend themselves and each other. So when this officer starts to get up off the ground, he initially has a hold of this gun, and then he just kind of lets go of it, and the gun ends up being left there on the ground. Well, he has a control of this guy's hand. So he's got control of this limb. The gun falls to the ground. And then he starts to back away. It would have been great if he could have grabbed that gun and moved it away. I don't know exactly, what transpired exactly after this. It's possible that one of them could have kicked that gun out of the way just to be safe. But we do see that he starts to back away and leaves the gun right there within reach of the guy. Now, it could also be that he could see with his eyes that the dude had a gunshot wound to the head, and the chances of him grabbing that gun are pretty low. We obviously can't see much of anything in the grainy camera footage, and it's hard to see anything when they put the blur box over the head. But leaving a gun that close to the bad guy, shoo. Like I said, I would have liked to have seen him be able to try to grab the thing, or at least, swat at it with his hand and send it sliding across the ground, or at least kick the shit out of it and send that thing down the roadway away from him. Alright, there's not much else to talk about with this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense, thank you for watching.